So, people, if you're ready, let's quit. We are the kings of campus! What's this? What's this? It's him.
I will return tomorrow night with high expectations. Pray you don't disappoint me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this first edition of, I'll call it the College Critic podcast here.
Funcast,
there we go. And I have my good friend Alex Munn with me. You guys remember him from my Deadpool review.
I'm the fat one.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Hey, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it.
Yeah, and so he's here to help me out with this. We're going to talk a little bit about Batman v Superman. It was a very late review coming out. We had an original one that I do have up, but it's on like a Google Drive if you want to watch it. There's a huge profanity warning on it because there's some rants in there that go very off color.
And we won't name who, but someone wanted us to take it off.
Yes.
So we did.
Yeah, we did.
We
Nice.
respect people's opinions.
Yeah.
But if you do want to see them, just send like a private message and we can get them to you.
You can definitely do that.
But don't post them.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, so we did that, and I'm going to try and incorporate our other friend Blake West into this the best I can. I'm either going to re-record some of his stuff, or I'll try and edit the things that he said in those reviews. So that all being said, let's dive right into Batman vs. Superman here for a little bit. So, Alex, you and I saw it together. You have seen it twice?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, and I've seen it twiise. So, what are some of your initial reactions and some of your pros with the movie? Kind of just going, full head of steam. Full spoilers for this, by the way. We're talking very in-depth and details. A spoiler warning. And so, Alex, take it away.
To be fair, if you saw the trailers, you've been spoiled already. There's not much. General thoughts before I get into my pros and cons. It was not a bad movie. By no means was this a bad movie. Zack Snyder, I have my problems with him, but he did not make a terrible movie. That being said, it was not great. It did not deserve like a 35%, but maybe like a 50.
Yep.
I don't know. My pros, every actor in that movie took their character to a place that hasn't been seen before.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That is a definite pro in my opinion. As someone who is an actor or aspiring, I don't want to say I'm an actor, I'm an aspiring actor, I can respect making a choice and sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 good movies. I'm going to start off with my cons first.
Okay.
It's too many movies in one movie. The thing that they need to figure out is what is the story that they're going to go with, because in this movie there's a good Superman, there's a good Man of Steel sequel, and that entire compass is centered around the idea of, does the world need a Superman? You could have made an entire movie just with that one idea, and it's really not that hard to make a good Superman movie, but for some reason we can't seem to do it. There's a good Batman versus Superman movie, because that fight, it was cool, but it was very short, because in the span of the entire start to finish movie, that entire movie was Batman versus Superman. Seriously, there was a good Wonder Woman movie. I'm legitimately excited. This is kind of going into my pros. I'm legitimately excited to go see the Wonder Woman spinoff that they're going to do.
Yes.
And I'm legitimately Gal Gadot is a fierce Wonder Woman. People were questioning whether she would be good. I, for one, thought that she was very good in the role. Another con, I don't necessarily think she needed to be a central part of the storyline. I think, Alex, you said something about this earlier. They could have just had Wonder Woman's sword, shield, and lasso in a little case, and Bruce Wayne could have walked by and seen it. And then later in a gala scene, because there were so many gala scenes in this movie for some reason. It's unnecessary. Yeah. They could have just had them in a box, and they could have had them be there 1 second and gone the next. And that's all the Wonder Woman Easter egg that we needed. We didn't need her to be in this movie. The only reason she was there was to make sure that Batman didn't get straight up axe murdered by Doomsday when they were having that big fight. Yeah. So there was a good Wonder Woman movie. There was a good just Superman vs. Lex Luthor movie, and there was a good Justice League movie. But I understand why critics are panning it, is because it's too much. It's too much in one movie.
It's a lot. Yeah.
You can't cram all that, and none of it flowed well together. It was when they switched to scenes, it was almost as if they were switching to a different movie, and you had to change gears so quickly.
I noticed that with the music, because when it was Superman, they did the Man of Steel score. When it was Batman, they did the new Batman score, which I liked the new Batman
I liked
score.
the new Batman score, and bless you, and the Wonder Woman score was badass. It was heavy
That
metal.
Fucking like guitar. It was like the Batman. It was like Batman and Wonder Woman kind of shared a theme, but it was that like '90s guitar riff in both Batman Beyond. And sorry, I love that. I just
especially the moment when she came in and saved Batman from Doomsday there, and it fades into her with the crossguard thing, and that was brilliant. And there were some people cheering in the first showing I went to, and that was a cool moment.
Damn, I wish I was at your show.
From what he keeps telling me, it's like it was people like us.
Yeah, it was a 10 o'clock Thursday show that I went to with my other friend, and it was silent the whole movie until like near the end and everything. During that Wonder Woman moment, that some people were cheered. It was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of people like us there, a lot of like college age students there.
But like at the same time, like what you were saying is like the movie itself didn't flow together, and you even heard that in the music, because Superman's theme is sort of as like a light, sort of like fluttery, like hopeful sound. Batman's is more of a darker, grittier thing.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman's, like Alice was saying, is sort of like Batman Beyond with the guitars and the like.
And then the Lex Luthor
Exactly.
theme.
So Warner Brothers, if you're watching, which I know you're not, and I know you never will, but do I need to make a good Superman movie? Because holy Jesus Christ, like Lex Luthor is with Batman, the Batman and Joker. That is just like peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah.
Same with Lex Luthor and Superman. To get a good Superman, and I believe that Henry Cavill is a brilliant cast for Superman.
Yes.
He's a great actor.
They didn't give him enough to do in this movie.
Exactly.
Even though I love Superman, I loved Man of Steel, and I'll say I did like this movie. I have a lot more pros than I have cons, and to me the pros do outweigh the cons.
You will find that soon.
But especially with Superman, they didn't give him enough to do because they were so focused on we have to set up the Justice League.
Which they didn't.
Halfway through the movie, he turned into a set piece with all like the filming, and he was just like, "Oh look, it's Superman on the news," and then like you don't actually hear any lines from him.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's Batman in this is phenomenal. This is the first time I've seen a Batman on screen. Now, let me preface this. I think every Batman that we've seen on the silver screen has taken one aspect from what we, as a community of fans, see Batman as.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's character takes it somewhere that we haven't really seen before in a live-action movie, which is Batman, kind of beaten down, really destroyed, because he's been at it, I was reading up, he was at it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then 10 years...
he's been off for 10 years.
He's been off for 10 years, and that was because after Robin gets killed.
Yes. Yeah.
This was originally... The reason I know, and this was what pisses me off about studios interfering with... Not just movies, because they do this with movies all the time, but movies that mean so much, like Batman vs. Superman. You do this with any cookie-cutter Hunger Games crap you want to do. But when you mess with a comic book movie, and a comic book movie like Batman vs. Superman, and you studio it up, what I mean is that they literally shoehorn so much into this movie that they didn't need to, because, we have to compete with Marvel. They always say, like, we're not trying to compete with Marvel. Yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You most certainly are. You literally went from the setup for Civil War, for Captain America Civil War, has been, like, the span of, like, let's say, roughly 18, 20 movies.
Yeah.
You know what set up Dawn of Justice? Man of Steel. But that's the thing. It's like, why? Like, because I personally loved Man of Steel. This is not saying anything... at all, but Man of Steel was the best Superman movie to date. Again, not saying much, because the good Superman movies was like Superman with Christopher Reeves. Yeah. I really did not think for a second that they were going to kill Superman, because when I saw Doomsday, it didn't even cross my mind until Lois and Clark had that stupid god-awful moment where he was like,
there are multiple.
There of course there are multiple.
There's a couple, because that's one of my cons. Yeah.
I love you. And, okay,
her at the end of the movie, I love Amy Adams. She's great, but near the end of the movie, and Chris Stuckman said this. Yeah. He said they didn't know what to do with her, so she got rid of the spear. Oh, she has to go get it again. Then Superman has to save her. And then
It's
the
so-
fight keeps going on, and Doomsday was okay.
Getting back on track to Amy
yeah.
Adams, though, and Lois
Yeah.
Lane, I love it. In the comic books, she's sometimes a damsel in distress. Obviously, that's what she was early on. That's what most
Yeah.
female characters were written off to be.
Yeah.
But later on in the comics, she became independent. For God's sakes, can we make our women not always damsels in distress? Like,
And
I love
Man
it.
of Steel did that. Man of Steel.
Man of Steel did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
This movie did not. Her
They made
story,
her really
turned so dumb.
her story was absolute bullshit. People in Africa were thinking, yeah, Superman killed all these people. What were they killed with? Bullets. Are you kidding me?
I really love this Batman because it did two things for the first time on screen that we haven't seen yet, done by an actual man in the flesh.
Hold up. Michael Keaton definitely killed people.
No. I'm not talking about killing people. I'm not talking.
Go ahead.
It's the one thing.
Definitely.
The one thing that I've seen and that I like.
I wanted them to establish a more believable conflict. Like, I wanted Batman and Superman to fight because Batman and Superman wanted to fight.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Lex pinned Superman's arm behind his back with his mom and turned it, he was like, "You need to kill the Bat for me."
Bruce Wayne Batman did not understand this guy, while he's an alien, there's human elements to it.
'Cause he was raised human.
Yeah, because he was raised human. Because people care about him, like Lois and like his mother. And that's why the whole Martha scene in the end, it works, but
just
doesn't
like-
work. But it was rushed, like we were
But
talking about
it's-
earlier.
no
just-
Marthas
It was
are going to die tonight.
It was
Let me-
too. They should have had
too much.
They should have had like a 2-minute scene there where they talked, and then it would have fixed some of that. It would have been like, and Batman would have
lost
been
your
like, "Wait a
parents
minute,
too?"
what?"
Yeah.
And then he would have explained and been like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
So if they had not focused so much on trying to shoehorn Justice League into this, it could have been a good Man of Steel sequel. It could have been a good setup for Batman and a good Batman versus Superman movie. That's all we needed.
Yeah.
That's all we
Right.
were asking for.
Yeah. How about that entrance to the Batcave though? In the
That was
cool.
Yeah.
That was a throwback to old. I think animated series Batman did that a
Yes.
lot with the. Wasn't it like a? How can
It was
we-
like in like
water.
a like
Yeah,
a
it was a
water like
waterfall.
It was
lake
like a
or
waterfall
something.
lake, and he goes under like this.
Yeah,
huge
the
tunnel.
door opens and
the
he like
the
flies
Batwing
in, yeah.
drives for a long time, and then it turns. That was really cool. I
Yeah, it
enjoyed
was
that.
cool.
Oh, one pro that I think is kind of funny in this. It did kind of pay to be a fan.
It did.
For
did.
once, it paid to be a fan who knew stuff outside of the movie, so you could pick up small tidbits.
Yeah.
We know he gets killed by the Joker. We know that.
Yeah. Do you
We
think
don't-
we'll see that in the Batman standalone movie? This is kind of just an offshoot, but just a quick little question here.
I do. Yeah, do you know what I'd really love to see? I'd really love to see even though this almost felt like a Batman movie, I would definitely like to see a standalone Batman movie where they take you to that 10 years before, because I could definitely see a Death in the Family style
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Death in the Family is where you get. It was, I believe, it was either 80s or 90s. I think it was 80s, and it was this. It was called Death in the Family because Jason Todd gets beat to death by Joker.
Yeah.
Like, there's no comedy in it. He literally gets and that was one of the things about this this comic arc that was so amazing, was the fact that in that you have this just hardcore. It was the first really gritty, like, how to say it? Like, really dark, gritty thing. And I'm not saying this is the first, like in the 70s, 70s and 80s, you also had The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
But in the 80s, 90s, you had
Things are starting to get more of that darker tone.
DC definitely comes into their own
Yeah.
with
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of makes a choice. They actually, what was really funny was they actually left it up to the choice of the readers if, not Damian Wayne, if Jason Todd gets killed by the Joker or not.
Really.
And they like it was a heavy yes to have Jason Todd get beat to death with a crowbar by the Joker.
Yeah.
There is a fantastic animated version of The Killing Joke. Side note on the side note.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Those animated movies from like the last 5 years
Have
with
they
that
been
very
really-
specific style have been phenomenal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And The Killing Joke is coming out soon.
Rated R.
Rated R, yeah, with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy.
Pretty much,
And the voices
you don't even
pretty
have to like name them.
Yeah.
You can pretty much say the entire cast of the animated series of
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
have. Well, one fun fact: Mark Hamill actually has said that he has retired from being the Joker just because he's starting to hit a point where he wants to retire, and that's completely understandable. He has had and is still having a great career.
Just staring off into space. in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Not having a single line. Do you know how
Easiest
much...
paycheck. Honest trailers are very off topic right here, but Honest Trailer did a great thing, and you know how they go through the starring all these different people, and they got to Mark Hamill. It's like the easiest money Mark Hamill ever made. It was really funny, but
Oh my god! Like they probably had like a hand double for the thing that touches R2D2. Like it's not even that.
Yeah.
But that being said, The Killing Joke is going to be fantastic because The Killing Joke is one of the quintessential. Now this is very opinionated. This entire thing is opinionated. If I say something that gets your gears or stops you in your tracks,
it's subjective. Yeah.
comment. I would love to have a conversation about this. But I do believe The Killing Joke, Death in the Family. I would even say the Batman, The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Are 3 quintessential Batman stories that you need to know. You have had to read and you need to know about.
Yeah, especially to understand this new universe that they're trying to
This
to
new
flesh
universe,
out, yeah.
they are definitely taking Batman, and I applaud Zack Snyder for that. I don't applaud him for much. I don't necessarily like his directing.
I don't mind it as much as it's like Zack Snyder he actually was cool fun fact, he was actually like classmates with Michael Bay. So you can tell he got the better end of the stick on that one.
Like he definitely can do a scene better than Michael Bay. He doesn't rely on
He can do dramatic moments better. He can do humor in some ways better than Michael Bay.
Another pro.
He's craft a story better than him too.
The humor in The Dark Knight Returns was actually not The Dark Knight Returns. Batman vs Superman was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
it
was
bad.
limited, but it was there, and when it was there, it hit for me. That was one of my pros. So yeah, going back to your pros, what are some more things that you felt were really good about the movie?
What did we hit? Every person
Batman,
brought a game. Not everybody brought their A game. I will say that. Zack Snyder, amazing.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that plays? I never bothered to learn his name. Who's the guy that played Superman?
Henry Cavill.
Oh my god, I felt so bad for him after seeing this movie because this was originally supposed to be his sequel.
Yeah.
And he was, after the first 30 minutes, he is pretty much a set piece. He is a piece that is just kind of being moved around in these acts.
Yeah. Because they've already set up his character, and this is kind of a defense to that, but they've also set up his character in Man of Steel already. But at the same time, they had to feel like, we have to shoehorn in Lex Luthor, and we have to give a lot more backstory to understanding why Batman was the way he was. Sorry to go off your point here, but
it's totally fine.
Oh, yeah. But I can understand why they did it, but I still would have liked to see him more involved in the movie. And then some of his dialogue near the end got really bad. Especially in that last scene where he's talking to Lex Luthor on the building top and everything. Yeah, that was some rough stuff. But
when we get to cons, that's gonna get hit on.
Yeah,
Oh jeez.
yeah. Even though I liked Lex Luthor for what he was, I've never been a huge fan of him in the Lex Luthors in the movies because they always have to land.
Who was the best one? I forget his name. There was one guy that
Gene Hackman was the original one in the 1978 version of Superman. Then it was Kevin Spacey. Are you talking about the guy on Smallville?
No, I think Kevin Spacey. Is Kevin Spacey the guy from House of Cards?
Yeah, Superman Returns.
I think he's come the closest.
Yeah.
But that was
always a poor movie.
This is always the thing I say with anything animated or anything that is in a viewing platform for TV or video.
Yeah.
Not video. That's dying. That's dead. The animated, just this whole thing where animation is so taboo. Even though every animated movie for these that have just come either straight to video or small opening kind of thing have been spectacular. And I will give you one reason. They have the fucking writers from the comics right there. And they even have the artists sometimes too.
Yeah. They take that visual style sometimes and play with it a bit.
I'm not happy with what they're doing for The Killing Joke, but they tried.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's tough to redo that
oh my god, it was so... Because the dude, I think they were oil paintings.
Yeah,
not oil paintings, but they were paintings.
Beautiful artwork, yeah.
That's another reason to read The Killing Joke is... No, not The Killing Joke. Well, yeah, actually, yeah. I was thinking Death in the Family for a second. Yeah, The Killing Joke is spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, God. Another pro. Wonder Woman.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I do agree to an extent that people have been saying that she probably shouldn't have been in this. Not because she didn't perform well, but just because they could not have given her more time.
Yeah.
She was only in the movie for about 30 minutes, and this is a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah. She had, I think, they counted as like 16 lines of dialogue, but for what her character's purpose was the dawn of justice part of the title.
Yeah.
So it was to set up that, literally and figuratively in ways, but I loved Gal Gadot. All the haters can go to sleep on that one, you know.
She's also incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm not saying that misogynistically, but...
And apparently
oh my god.
Apparently she's one of the best things of that new movie, Criminal, that just came out. But anyway.
Criminal?
Yeah.
What movie is that?
Kevin Costner movie that just came out. But, all right, any more pros, Alex? If not, I can go over to mine. We can...
I'm trying to... I don't want to leave anything out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think... they tried.
Mm-hmm.
That is... I know that's a weird pro, but they tried so hard.
Yeah.
They were trying
They didn't phone it in. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't phone it in. They really tried to do something that could be original and that could succeed. It didn't. It didn't by any means. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that it succeeded. It did not. In all truth, I didn't think it was worth it seeing it a second time. I kind of wanted my money back on that. But I also only technically paid for that one time because Andrew paid for my first ticket.
Yeah. But did you catch more the second time?
Oh, God, yes. I'm... for those of you who don't know, I'm also going to be double majoring in design and production in properties. I love props. I love small bits and pieces in movies, even if you only see it for a split second. And I'm saying that because there were so many times in this movie that that's a pro. Yeah. They used like original. They set up scenes and they put in little snippets of recreated live action versions of either panels from the original comics.
Yeah.
Or like the dude who's like he turns into like the mini terrorist.
Yeah.
Exploding wheelchair guy.
Yeah, Scoot McNairy's character, yeah. I don't remember his name, but yes.
It's just so funny to me because like on his giant wall of like conspiracy and paranoia, he has the first Superman cover.
Yeah. I saw there was
recreated.
There was like a video somebody posted onto like Instagram or something, and I saw and they played that scene over again, and I'm like, oh, there it is. Yeah, I saw it that time.
Nobody saw it. Like when I first went to see this movie, I was like, yeah, and you're just like looking at it. It's fantastic. Also, no pun intended, but props to the prop master for this movie. Everything cybernetically was fantastic. Just God and. Like gun choice, paint, stuff like that. Like it's very small and you don't think about it, but it puts you into a real sense of what's happening. And that is my tiny rant on props. I'm sorry.
It is. I'll admit,
so good.
It is cool because I've watched all and we'll talk about The Force Awakens later in this video. But
you want to talk about something I want to be as a prop master? I want to be a prop master for Star Wars. Yeah. That looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I watched some of the bonus features on the Blu-ray that Alex so graciously bought for me. Thank you.
It was a debt.
Yeah. But so I watched some of those things and I was just like, man, and you don't think about it when you're watching a movie until you really, really think about it. You're like, man, somebody had to design everything you see. Someone had to design all those creatures, all those effects. It's amazing stuff, and that a lot of it did start out with like George Lucas starting with the first movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was Ralph McQuarrie art too.
Fun fact. I'm going to give 15 seconds on the clock. Can you guess what... 5 seconds. What was the first scene ever written for Star Wars Episode 4? 5, 4, 3, 2. Post in the comments. 1. It was the bar cantina scene.
There we go.
I love this fun fact because nobody can guess it. Right. And it was the simple reason... I even told this to Cap, and he was like, damn, okay. Like, he didn't even know. I was like, yeah. It was because when George Lucas was pitching this, he only wrote this one scene because he knew it was going to get off the ground. He pretty much said, because the one question was, how are you going to make people in space relatable?
Yeah. We've
never been to space. We've never dealt with something like this.
Yeah.
And he said simply, when you have a cantina scene, everybody's been to a gross bar.
Yeah.
Everybody, the scum of the earth are in a bar.
Yeah.
And you just know about it.
Yeah. And it's the coolest bar in a galaxy far, far away.
Sorry, I love that.
That's a great little fun fact. So, all right, back over to my pros for the movie. I'll admit, like you said, all the characters, I think, brought their, maybe not their A game, but they brought it. Nobody phoned this movie, and it wasn't a Bruce Willis in the last Die Hard movie or some kind of just like, oh, I'm just here to get a paycheck kind of thing.
Well,
no, everybody did a good job, in my opinion, of conveying the characters that either came over from Man of Steel or all the new characters like Wonder Woman, Batman, Alfred, etc. Alfred was great, by the way. Jeremy Irons.
That if you want to talk about an unsung hero of this movie was that, because you never really had an opinion on him like like when you walked out, because he was so just like. I think it's just because we've seen so many Batman movies where you're just like, okay, yeah, of course there's going to be an Alfred.
Yeah.
And
it's the eighth one. This is the eighth Batman movie.
Yeah, this is the eighth Batman movie. And you just sit there and you don't even think about it, but that was a pretty damn good, thing too. That they kind of got out of the whole, like, master-servant relationship, and it's more just like, we're bros.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you some coffee in the morning.
Obviously, Ben Affleck as Batman was fantastic. I really liked this version of Batman. And then when we saw him in the Suicide Squad trailer recently, it's just like, oh, there he is, like Batman, man. And everybody, that's one thing, everybody came out of this movie and was like, Batman, right away. Like everybody, all the naysayers were like, I was wrong. Like, because Ben Affleck, you can say things about him in the early part of his career, but dude has brought his A game the last like 5 years or whatever.
He is making like a move to be the quintessential next to Kevin Conroy. To being a quintessential Batman for me.
Yeah.
I've been saying that way too much.
Yeah, but I think he did a fantastic job. I'm not going to stick him necessarily as high. We've only seen him in one movie.
Kevin Conroy is still my highest.
Yeah, I'm not going to set him as high as like Kevin Conroy or even like Christian Bale as far as like, oh, that's my favorite one. But I really enjoyed it. It's better than I think all the other ones. And I'll admit, I've liked all the Batmans, minus like Batman and Robin for obvious reasons. But yeah, I really enjoyed Batman in this movie. I enjoyed Superman while he was there. I enjoyed that character. I loved Man of Steel.
He brought his B game, in my opinion. That just really for this one, and I think it was more direction than him as an actor himself.
I don't think he didn't have enough to do. Yeah.
He just like every time he was in a scene, like the delivery was so like low energy. Yeah. And like, hey, yeah, you know what?
I think also his character at those moments. You're talking about that scene with him and Lois in like the bathroom kind of thing.
Yeah, just.
I mean, there's like that stuff I can understand because then there's that whole montage where he's saving people and everybody's like, "Does there need to be a Superman?" Great question. That was a great scene.
That was one of the
visually it looked amazing.
That was one of the few scenes in this entire thing, and I'll get to my cons when you're done. Yeah. That was one of the few scenes in this entire movie that was shot well. It was planned out well to succeed. Yeah.
Including, I think, the whole montage near the end with the death of Superman. I think was very well put together with that. It's just Zack Snyder knows how to make a beautiful looking movie.
He knows how to make a montage.
Yeah, he knows how to make he knows how to make great shots. Okay, and I'll give him credit where credit is due. He's also not the writer of the movie as well. He
has so much more say.
He's got a lot of say and everything. And we'll get into this near the end. I think he needs to be a creative consultant, not the actual director of the next movies. Now, I think when we see Suicide Squad with David Ayer, it's going to be this different thing, and it's like that's what the DC cinematic universe is going to be.
Do you know what my favorite scene that's going to be? I can already tell you what my favorite scene is going to be from that movie. Just with seeing what they did and how they did it, I can easily see the bar scene. Where
that'll be a lot of fun.
Like it looks. I'm using like context clues. It looks like they're in the middle of a fight and they're kind of waiting for. I'm gonna guess they're waiting for Joker, and so they go into a bar, like a closed bar, and they all sit down there having a drink. And Harley Quinn is bartending, and I really see this as going to be a great opportunity to build character.
Yes.
And
you can see that in the trailer. There's already these great character building
just by
moments.
What they're drinking. Yeah. You can get like.
Yeah, and it's funny.
The one dude, I love him. I forget his name, and I feel so bad. I don't really know the characters. I know, Deadshot and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, like the big guys, but like the smaller dude that can turn on fire.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
His whole thing is he's trying to find redemption.
Yeah.
Like, I read Suicide Squad. I will fight people. I still don't agree that Killer Croc should have been in this. I still think it should have been King Shark.
Okay.
I just I think King Shark is a better chaotic evil because Deadshot to me is the lawful neutral of this entire thing. I even think Harley Quinn is a chaotic neutral. I don't even think she's evil.
Yeah. Well, we've seen some pictures of her like where she's not the Harley Quinn that we know necessarily. It's like when she's talking with the Joker and stuff like that. So there's obviously something going on there. I think it's going to be earlier in the movie or flashbacks or something where we see her before she became, Harley Quinn and everything.
Yeah.
But back to Batman vs Superman, I know we keep going off, but that's fine. I really liked the movie because maybe it was because I adjusted my expectations a bit. I heard some things about the movie. I saw some things, and I was kind of also maybe looking for those mistakes that people are talking about, like editing and pacing and things. And while there are some pacing issues, especially near the end, it didn't bother me nearly as much as other films, and pacing. Honestly, pacing and editing didn't bother me nearly as much as like Fantastic Four did, if we're comparing here. But
you're comparing to the bottom of the barrel.
I
you were
am,
on the wood.
Yeah, but it didn't bother me a whole lot, and I found this movie very enjoyable because I got to see Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman in a movie together. You never got to see that before. You never got to see parademons. That's something Kevin Smith said. He's like, some people will justify this movie as being just good, and they'll be okay with that because they got to see parademons, or they got to see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in the same frame. They got to see Batman and Lex Luthor interacting together. Even though it's a different Lex Luthor, they got to see all these characters interacting. And I kind of agree with that because I'm like, dude, I've been waiting for this movie forever.
I think as long as your expectations, like, if it's... Yeah. I'm going to use a movie out there, Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. I went to that movie, all I wanted to see was big monster aliens and big robots. Mm-hmm. And do you know what I got? Big monster aliens and big fucking robots. And do you know why it's so high? Like, it is in my top 10 as one of my favorite movies. Because I can say it objectively, like, the reason I love it so much is it played to and then above and beyond my standards. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily say, as the whole spectrum of movies, it's like a fucking, like, film, like, masterpiece.
It's the greatest thing I...
But I love Del Toro. I love his work. I love his style of kind of like that weird kind of like biological weirdness.
Yeah. He has a very interesting style.
I love it. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's going to be taking on H.P. Lovecraft. Mm-hmm. His style is perfect for H.P. Lovecraft. Mm-hmm. That's off topic.
Yeah. But that's fine. But again, maybe I'm an apologist or whatever, but I liked Lois Lane in this movie when she had things to do. And what I mean by that is near the end of the movie, she gets that kryptonite spear that Batman throws away after him and Superman become buddies and everything. And I understand that, but
I think that was definitely a pacing
it was rushed, and that's one of my cons of the movie, is there are some rush moments. And that is one of them that could have been better explained other than, Martha, hey, we're friends. Like, it could have been a lot... They could have had a quick, maybe 2-3 minute scene there just to have them talk, and I think that would have made things better. That would have, I think, made the whole thing better as a whole. Also, they give Lois Lane this spear in the end. She gets rid of it, then she has to get it back, and then it's like she's just there as this damsel in distress again, and she's not that throughout the entire length of the movie, except in like the beginning scene, where she is for like a brief moment.
But they definitely downgraded her.
They did. I thought she was fantastic, and look, I love Amy Adams. She's fantastic. And I thought she was great in Man of Steel because you get to see the world through her point of view and how she knows who Clark is and how... And even Perry White tells her, if the world knew that there was a Superman, they'd go nuts. They wouldn't know what to do. And that's kind of what this movie was promising, and it gave us some of that, but it didn't give us enough of that. And I think that's what it needed to be. Personally, again, as most people have said, this movie needed to be a Man of Steel 2, not a Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
Do you want me to explain my fix for it?
For what?
It was like the whole two movies that they shared. Yeah. I was sitting down with Andrew one day for lunch, and this was right after the movie came out, and we were having a conversation about it. Andrew and I don't necessarily agree on a lot of things. Like other than movies, we differ a lot with our opinions.
Yeah.
But when it comes to movies, we kind of share a similar view. I had an easy fix to this. I thought, now this is me. So the whole two movie system has been coming out recently with really big names like Divergent.
Yeah. The next Avengers movie, part 1, part 2, kind of stuff like that.
That whole thing of part 1 and part 2, I said, film 3 movies. The first one you release should be Batman. I think you should have a Batman movie, a Superman movie, and then have a Batman versus Superman movie.
Yeah, and they don't need to be 2.5 hours long.
No, and each one could be an hour and a half long, then have the last one 2.5 hours.
Yeah, because look, Deadpool was like an hour 45.
And it fucking rocked.
Had a great movie, yeah.
So, here's my thought. Here's my theory. Build Batman as a character. Then, 3 months later, because you could film this all at once and then make all your money back with even more.
Yeah.
So film all 3, take like 3 years and do it. Release the first one, give about like 3 to 4 months, release Superman, and give an actual Man of Steel 2. Now, make them wait 6 to 8 more months. Make a baby. Like, make this like a child. And release Batman versus Superman, because the first 2 movies would be taking place at the same time.
Yeah.
And so
they can reference each other in ways too, yeah.
But you'd have, instead of like rushing that whole like, oh no, Superman heard about Batman, then Batman heard about Superman, and on and on and on and on. And you could make Lex Luthor a character in both, kind of perpetuating this. Yes. And then have the last movie come together and tie both of them together as a sequel to both of the movies. Mm-hmm. And it would be very risky just because no one's ever really done it.
But I think it would work. I completely agree with you. I think.
Well, I guess Avengers is like that.
Sort of, but I mean, well, yeah, because the movies take place roughly together. Like the first Phase 1 movies for like Iron Man 1 and 2, especially like Iron Man 2. And I think Thor take place like in around the same area because they
all take place like
around the same time.
Yeah.
Like in like if a movie takes 2 months in time to take place, in that 2 month span, the events of one of the other movies is happening, something along those lines. But and I completely agree with your idea. I think that would have worked. It would have been fantastic. And you can even say in the marketing, this movie's only going to be out for like a few months. Then we're going to work on the next movie. And then that's going to be out for a limited time. And then, because then you make a lot of your money back and people are like, oh, I have to go see this movie.
But they wouldn't be like, it would be like what Star Wars is doing.
Yeah.
Where instead of making them wait 2 years per movie, you're kind of giving, a little bit of kindling to the fire. Yeah. So you have your loyal subjects, still following you.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I really liked the movie and everything. I thought it was good. We'll get our scores in a minute. So let's just talk about a couple cons here. Some things we didn't like as much. We're starting to run low on time. I want to get to a couple other topics here.
Yeah.
But just talk about our cons and then give a final score.
I'll shoot through mine. First one, Lois Lane. Easily because in Man of Steel, she was a great change of pace for our usual Lois Lane. She actually tried to be her own woman. Yeah. And like in the second movie, she's literally another set piece. She's like a damsel, like what you were saying, a damsel in distress all the time.
Twice, yeah.
And she's like, before she was so like competent and like you could trust her with something, and now it's like, oh no, I dropped the spear. Oh, let me go pick it back up. And it's like, it was so almost degrading to the character.
Yeah. I can agree with that because I love Man of Steel. I think that is the definitive Superman movie in my opinion. I think that is just a really, really good movie that shows really good character development for those characters, bringing them into the modern day and things like that. Also, while I liked Lex Luthor, I can see why it's a con. I can go into that in another video and stuff, but and also just a lot of the story. There were story elements in there that just didn't work, and like the introduction to the Justice League, it was just poor writing in my opinion. That could have been a post-credit scene, or even you said that those little mini clips could be like
make
teasers.
them the only trailers for that. I think your biggest downfall is to have multiple trailers that show almost too much. I think Justice League should literally be those 4 trailers.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it should be 6. It should be those four, then have the Batmans, and then have Supermans.
Well, Darkseid. Do you think they should introduce Darkseid or anything like that?
Oh, Darkseid. Oh, Darkseid. That was my glasses hitting the table. Darkseid, I would say no, just because we have Thanos coming in the next Avengers. And I really think he's going to be playing a big part in Civil War. Like
Thanos?
Yeah, I definitely think. Just
Really?
get on the Marvel train for a sec. I do. I think there's going to be, because you know how these movies do now. They always introduce something really big, like in the middle, like no context. It's like, oh hey, by the way, we found this like signature in the middle of space. It's like a giant floating rock with this even bigger guy on it, and he has a gauntlet. Like it's something stupid.
I don't think they're gonna. We'll get into that when we talk about Civil War. But I think from what I've heard that I don't think that happens. But anyway, any more cons to the movie?
Lex Luthor.
Okay.
Earlier in my prose, I said everybody came with a general choice in mind, and they kept to it, and it was really nice. That being said, Lex, or Alexander Luthor, because it's not technically Lex, it's his son, which is stupid. What's the name of the actor? I'm sorry.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. God damn it, Jesse Eisenberg. You know what? I can respect the fact of how proud you are of this character, but it wasn't good. He was like this new, hip, like... Have you ever seen those guys? They're like, we're going to start a company, but we're going to keep it, like, fresh, and we're going to have, like, juice bars everywhere. They literally introduced him in the movie with long hair and
playing
like...
basketball.
Yeah, playing fucking basketball in the middle of his company.
That's kind of why I liked him. It seemed like he was a bit relatable, and I did like that scene that he had talking to Holly Hunter's character.
Oh, the candy bar.
I didn't mind that. It was weird.
That was also a play on words. I thought that was funny.
I thought it was funny, but like it's hey, you know what? It's a different character, and I enjoyed it. One quick moment. The music. What do you think of the music?
Oh my God, Hans Zimmer can do no wrong, in my opinion. Hans Zimmer at this point to me is such a great musical writer. I know Andrew has some thoughts on this, but like definitely keeping really hardcore themes musically. And as someone who plays an instrument, as someone who can respect that classical choice of having a melody for a certain character and just building upon that every time they're in the shot. Like, I was listening back through some of the music, like Superman and Batman stuff, like whenever they collide, it comes together. Yeah. But also their music evolves with them.
It does, yes.
They're like, if something happens very dramatically, like you'll change key or something. And I know that sounds very obvious, but like, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to have your music evolve and have like a slight change to your melody or add a different harmony and stuff like that. And it.
Yeah. I think this is a very decent soundtrack for this movie.
Oh,
and
the soundtrack did it more justice than anything else.
I think so, but also the something I did notice when they went to each of the characters, the music just changed, and that's kind of where the editing and pacing kind of just it's choppy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, we're with Superman, let's play the Man of Steel theme, or with Batman, let's play the Batman theme, we're with Wonder Woman, let's play her awesome new theme. Dude, I love that movie.
That fucking guitar riff is amazing.
Okay, there's a moment in the movie, this is probably my favorite moment, one of the coolest moments in the movie, is when Wonder Woman comes in and saves Batman's ass.
From
Doomsday. And she just comes in, there's this like epic explosion and everything, and it pans in on her face with the with her arms like crossed. And then the music just kicks in, it's like I'm just like, oh, that's awesome.
It felt like fucking Batman Beyond.
When I saw that with my other friend Keenan, he came to me like 2 days after seeing the movie. He's like, you know what? I can't get out of my head. He's like, that Wonder Woman music. He's like, that was so awesome. He's like, let's go. This is awesome. And he enjoyed the movie. He's a little lower on it than I am. But he enjoyed it. I love the Man of Steel music. And the new Batman music I thought was really, really well incorporated. And I even like Lex Luthor's music because it fit with his character.
His was good. My biggest complaint about Lex Luthor wasn't about his character choice, but almost a lack of character choice. Like, it felt too Joker. Just to be honest.
I can understand
it
that.
Feels very like... It was like a mix of Heath Ledger's, like, craziness, but without like the actual momentum of it. Because with the Joker, he's doing it because he can.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest flaw with having Lex Luthor is Lex Luthor has a plan.
He reminded me of Jim Carrey's Riddler just a bit.
That I guess you could say he was a mix of
Is that kind of like crazy kind of, thing? But yeah, I don't know.
It was so weird because it's like trying to play a Joker-esque character. I just refer to it as like a Joker.
Yeah.
It really was. And I understand like he was driven mad by his like knowledge after getting it.
Yeah.
But it really just you can't play that kind of character because in that character there is no plan. They're instinct driven. They're not. Lex Luthor is known for always having. He's pretty much Batman. He always has a plan. He's always one step ahead.
And last point here. I think the movie has deleted scene-itis. The movie we got is not the movie that they intended to make, and I think we'll get that movie with the Ultimate Edition that's like 3 hours long.
I have one more sentence that I would not need to build on at all. Doomsday sucked, and did not need to be in that movie at all. Yeah. You could have driven that entire movie without Doomsday.
Okay, final scores. Blake.
4 out of 10, and I'll tell you why. Because it's sad that a movie I was so excited. I was more excited for this than I was for Star Wars because I knew Star Wars was going to be good. I was going into that movie with the expectations of just like, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this. And it's just, I want to give it higher than a 5, but I can't because there's just so many issues that I've yet to discuss. And I can't give it lower than a 4 because that would just be pissing on it like everybody else is doing. So, 4 out of 10.
Yeah. All right, so what was your final score on the movie, Alex?
Maybe like a 6 to 6.5. It wasn't fantastic. I wanted to give like maybe a 6 just because it was higher than a 5.
Definitely higher than like a 29% or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah, 29%. That's higher than a lot of awful movies. Just 6. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand by what I originally said. I really enjoyed the movie. I'll say 8, I'm gonna say 8.5. I enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's because I really, really enjoyed Man of Steel as well, and maybe my expectations were lowered, or I just didn't have them as high going into the movie. And I think that's no fault of anyone who had their expectations too high. It's just your opinion of the movie, and I personally enjoyed what I saw and what they gave me. I'm looking forward to the Wonder Woman movie. I'm looking forward to Justice League. I'm definitely looking forward to Suicide Squad. And I kind of can't wait for this universe to really, go off, and just start making movies continually, kind of like what Marvel's doing in the same way. I don't want to compare the two because they're completely different, and anybody that does compare them, I just think you're missing the point because they're two separate universes. They're not competing. Mm-hmm. And I think they're two studios that are just trying to make movies. And if superhero movies on one end of the spectrum start going down, I think the other company could hinder, from that because
you need that. You don't want it to be a monopoly.
Yeah, you don't want it just to be one group of people making movies, and it kind of has been for a while with Marvel. Okay, that's my last point on that. We got about 36 minutes left in this video. I want to try and push forward here. Just a couple of quick things. The Rogue One trailer released like a week ago or so, and I just want to get Alex's points on that. So you saw the trailer with me and Blake and a few other people. What do you think?
I really don't have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I don't think we really have enough, though, to really start making opinions. I think the way it was put together was fantastic. Mm-hmm. It was a very good trailer to kind of give you different points. You kind of started to catch the plot already from it, though.
Yeah. And I think that's intended because I had a lot of people asking me, and especially my mom texted me. I told her, "Oh, you see this new Star Wars trailer?" My mom's like, "This isn't Episode 8. Why do you want to see this? This isn't Episode 8." And I had to explain it to her. And I think that's what this trailer did. Was it started the conversation with Star Wars fans and people that maybe aren't as into it, knowing they're making Star Wars movies every year now, and they're switching off between the episodes and Star Wars stories and things like that. I think what it does is it evolves this. I think this is evolving the story, giving us new characters that aren't necessarily related to the other characters, and I think that's a good thing because you have to expand your universe.
Well, I think they'll be related, but they won't be needed. If that makes any sense.
Okay, I can see where you're going with that.
I really hope they start really bringing the Sith idea back in. At one point, I'd love to see Darth Revan come into play.
I think he will. I think. Wait till this.
The 8th movie.
Wait till I think either the 8th or the 9th movie. Wait till this first trilogy is done. I'm hoping to do like a Knights of the Old Republic trilogy. That would be really cool.
Oh, Coder. Oh,
that
God,
would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
I'm sorry for that, like, orgasmic,
They also have to do an Obi-Wan standalone movie. Come on, you have Ewan McGregor who wants to do it.
He is actively...
Here's the thing, everybody, including people at Lucasfilm, want to do it. And apparently they've had, I heard Freddie Prinze Jr., who was on Collider's Jedi Council, talk about, they were talking about possible Star Wars stories they could do, and he said they have had, no joke, hundreds of pitches for an Obi-Wan standalone. They know Ewan McGregor wants to do it.
It would be
Lucasfilm
good.
wants to do it. Disney wants. Everyone wants to do it. It's just about pulling the trigger. And
I definitely think after this trilogy, like after 2020, we will have it.
Yeah. You're gonna have it. I think in the next 10 years. Dude, he's the right age too. And if you age him right with makeup, he could look exactly like, or look.
He is a beautiful man.
He could look like Alec Guinness, like
man.
In that in between vein of those two.
Dude, you had Looper. If they could make anybody look like what's his face, like they can,
Bruce Willis, I'm really excited for Rogue One. Gareth Edwards, I think did a marvelous job with it. I think it looks very good.
Oh, one con. And I was seeing this because someone brought, I didn't even really notice it, but I think it was College Humor that made the joke about it, was all of these new, all of these fucking trailers of, remakes and, add-ons are all using, slow, minimalistic piano. Ghostbusters, Jurassic World, all the Star Wars. They need to stop. They really do. And it's, it's beautiful.
The Force Awakens trailers didn't do that.
I know, but it's just
I understand.
the last 3 big trailers that have come out, just for any movie, have been doing that, and it's kind of cool. But then it's just it gets so old, and I say this not because I'm slapping their wrist. It's just I didn't notice it, and after I noticed it really fucking annoyed me.
You want something different? I understand. Yeah.
I'm a very big person. One of my later you'll see one of my cons in Force Awakens. I don't want to see the same movie again.
I don't know. They're not going to. I can tell you right now, they are not doing that.
Just people don't. I loved Force Awakens. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was cool. It was interesting.
I loved it.
It wasn't as original as I thought it was going to be. I really think it was almost a rehash.
Yeah.
But not bit by, not frame by frame.
Yeah.
But it definitely had the same feeling as A New Hope.
It did. But the thing, and here's the kind of rebuttal to that. And it's funny, Chris Stuckman and Screen Junkies and a ton of other people had said this. It's okay, well, Star Wars fans, they see the original trilogy and they're like, okay, Star Wars movies have to be like the original trilogy, right? And then the prequels come out and everybody's like, well, that's not Star Wars, what's that? And then they make The Force Awakens, which, fair enough,
you have so many people that have never seen Star Wars. That is so weird to me. Am I the only person that finds that really weird?
There's a lot of people that haven't seen Star Wars.
Yeah,
there's an entire generation now that kind of didn't grow up with Star Wars. These kids that were born, that were too young to probably see the prequels, but now they're old enough and everything.
I gotta say though, you could have seen Force Awakens without seeing any of them.
I like that because number one, it takes place 30 years after the last movie,
and everybody knows who Han Solo is. You don't have to see the movie to know who Chewbacca is.
I think it's better and best to understand the lore and everything. At least see the original movies.
Yeah.
At least see the original 3. You don't have to see all 6 of them, but at least see the original 3 before you see The Force Awakens, because then you have the knowledge of who the eventual reveal of Kylo Ren being Han's son.
There's a bigger impact.
Yeah, it's a bigger impact, and
unless you get it spoiled for you the day before you go see it, aka me.
Sorry.
I hated it. One dude, no joke, on Facebook, he was like, "Yeah, dude, here's a fan theory video," and it was talking about a fan theory and how I kind of guessed that he was going to be it, but you don't tell someone yeah, you're right. And it's no, let me find out.
A bunch of trolls.
But here's what happened. he was like, "Oh, here's my fan theory video on how Kylo Ren is going to be Han Solo's son." After seeing his, not in a racist way, but after seeing that big old nose, I love Harrison Ford, but he's got a big old nose. He's got a big old nose, and after seeing Kylo Ren's nose, I know they were going to be. Now that's really stupid, but that's how you cast. I'm sorry, people. Casting is really like 20 years backwards. Yeah. But yeah, it was like their evidence though for this was the actual scene from a pirated version from somewhere in Malaysia.
Really?
Yeah, like it had like the subtitles, and like I was watching, I was like, okay, I don't remember this from the trailers, and then you see like the sword from the chest, and you're just like, God damn it!
That
I was so
what a troll.
The thing that was funny was I was actually waiting, like it was on a Friday, and I was waiting until Sunday to see it, and I called up one of my friends in town, and I was like, you know what? We're going to see it now. I had it spoiled for me. We're gonna go see it right now. Because I was like, I can't wait anymore. Yeah. I'm so pissed. I have to go see it.
I feel so bad for you. That's terrible. I understand. And I can completely understand.
Just because of how big, like, this was a really ballsy move.
Oh, it was.
I will say that right now. It was a ballsy move.
But I think it was time. It was time for it to happen. Yeah. And I think it was a proper send-off. I think, personally, while Harrison Ford wanted to die in Return of the Jedi, I think, honestly...
Harrison Ford I think he really just wants to get out of acting.
I mean, I don't know, but
his feet, like, just the way he... And, like, I'm not dissing Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, if you're listening, I love you. I think you're awesome.
Well, he wants to do Indiana Jones 5, though.
No,
Maybe he just wants to do Indiana Jones
he's tired of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows him from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think, wasn't that one of his first films?
It was one of the... I think it was maybe his second or third film.
It was after that he went to Indiana Jones, and I think he enjoyed Indiana Jones more.
Yeah.
Just blatantly.
It was his own franchise, and it wasn't... It's kind of like Alec Guinness with it as well. He was just like, oh, I don't want to be associated with this childish... Because it was considered this childish thing at the time, but Star Wars isn't for... Star Wars is for kids, but it's not for kids
it's
at the same
for all
time.
ages.
It's for everybody. Come on.
It has everything that...
We're a bunch of 20-year-olds talking about Star Wars. Come on. Yeah, I mean, it's...
If we want to be serious, let's get serious.
Yeah, come on. And no, I've seen 40-year-old men talking about it on YouTube, you know, and like on a...
To be fair, though, it was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
That the first Star Wars movie came out.
Yeah.
That is your age range.
Yeah. I mean,
would it be 35 years ago? Were the 80s 30 years ago?
It was 77, so it's almost 40. Yeah.
I was thinking 1985.
It's like 49 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, like...
Because Episode 8 will come out the year... It was supposed to come out on the anniversary.
I thought it came out in 1985.
What did?
Star Wars.
The first one?
Yeah.
No, 1977.
Really? Okay.
No. 85 is Back to the Future. You're thinking something different. Okay, anyway.
No, God, I can't even... But you have... Like, to give you an example, my father, he is 55 years old, loves Star Wars. Like, he's not to the point of, like, really going into fan theory and stuff like that. Yeah. But when I asked him, because I didn't know it until he came up to me one day and said, we need to go see Star Wars. Yeah. Before this, I thought he did not like Star Wars. Mm. And he explained to me, he's like, yeah, this was a big part of my childhood. I wasn't, like, a geek for it. But I love Star Wars. Yeah. And to hear that from, like,
my grandfather loves Star Wars, yeah.
Like, my dad, like, we never talked about it. Mm-hmm. And just, like, hearing him go, it was my childhood.
That's great. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It's it's one of the very few things that's a multi-generational
Star Trek 2.
So yeah, Star Trek 2. But it's a very multi-generational thing.
Yeah.
Because, look, it came out in 1977 and was one of the biggest movies ever made, if not, at the time, the biggest movie ever made. And
you can say Star Wars and most everyone will know what it is.
Yeah, everybody knows what Star Wars is. And the thing about Star Wars is... It changed the game for everything.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most influential movies ever made. And it's a great movie too.
Technically too,
yeah. Special effects wise. Yeah.
Practical effects.
Yes.
Yeah. Just everything.
And I think what and we're getting more into we're gonna right after I say this we're gonna get into a Force Awakens 4 months later kind of review because we watched it the other night.
Yeah.
I was going to talk for a few minutes on this, and then I want to get into two more topics that we really got to get to. But
yeah, absolutely.
What was I going to say? Star Wars is one of those things. It changed the game for everything, right? And the prequels, you start with these massive special effects shots, which are stop motion animation in these practical, like model ships on blue screen and things like that. very early things, and it still holds up today. Not the special editions, but not special edition edits and everything where they CGI the ships and everything, but the original. If you go back and watch the original version of that Death Star battle, it still holds up to this day. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So does Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It all holds up. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
To this day, it's amazing. It's an amazing feat that it was actually done, and that a company like 20th Century Fox at the time was able to make this movie, and no one thought it was going to succeed, and it became one of the highest-grossing movies ever.
Spielberg did.
But yeah, Spielberg thought it was going to succeed.
He actually told George Lucas, he was like, "Hey, I believe in you."
Yeah.
There's a funny story. I don't really know the story well, but one of my professors was telling me about like the point system and trading off points, and they made a bet to because Spielberg was making Titanic at the time, and George Lucas was making.
Didn't make Titanic. It was James Cameron.
James Cameron. God damn, what was Spielberg making?
When? Oh, Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. God, they were both making a space movie. That's what it was.
In the late 70s, yeah.
Yeah, in the 1770s. I'm sorry, I'm all mixed up right now, guys. Don't blame me. Yeah, like they were doing that, and they were trading points because there's a point system in Hollywood, and Spielberg to this day is still making money because he got a part of the profit because of that bet. He's still making money. George Lucas stopped making money years ago. That's my final point.
Yeah, I think, and the movie to this day is great and everything, but then the prequels kind of took that special effects. I know they're cold. Their French fries are cold.
But they're still so good. They're disgusting, but they're like filling.
McDonald's French fries here, but no, in the prequels took that all away, and I saw a review the other day that just pissed me off for The Force Awakens, and the guy was like, There's more CGI in The Force Awakens than there is in the entire prequels, and I'm like, whoa.
That is not true.
That is not true. I'm like, go back and watch. Go back and watch Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Dude, it's all green screen. Come on.
The one thing that I really respect, and it was actually Andrew that pointed this out to me, was this is one of the first huge movies that actually puts together practical and CGI effects.
Yeah.
Puts it together
very seamlessly. Oh
my god! Like I thought one of the characters on screen was purely CGI, and then he showed me the video, and it's partially CGI.
Yeah,
but it's like
a lot of the creatures and everything that were animatronic and like puppets and everything were made, but then they were enhanced probably subtly with CGI, like around the eyes
lighting
and everything,
stuff like that.
Lighting to make them look more real.
When you shine light on an animatronic thing with fake skin and stuff like that, there is kind of this lack of glow in the skin that you just can't get unless you do CGI.
And what they did was they shot a lot of these guys, like especially for like when the ships are outside in the daylight, they would shoot outside to get those lights, and they'd be in like a rig, and they'd spin them around and do all the different angles and things that they would end up doing in the movie to get those lighting effects. And it blends these elements so well together. It's so photoreal. It looks amazing. And these sets too that they built, like the forest set at the end of the movie
was real.
It was real. They built a set that looked like that. It is a marvel of set, but for someone who has helped build sets for like plays and things, and Alex, you can probably attest to this too.
Oh yeah.
It's a marvel that this thing
to work with scene designers and to work. This is a PSA. When you go to a movie and you look at a practical effect and you say, it should be replaced with CGI, there are so many jobs every day, no matter how small they are, that go into that. There are people, hardworking people.
Somebody has to craft those lightsabers and those blasters and all that stuff.
There are people who have their living on this, and to downgrade their work because it's practical effects. Yeah. Practical effects started fucking movies, okay? Yeah. They're the backbone of special effects.
Yeah. The best special effect is when you don't even notice it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
A good effect is not like...
Yeah, in CG, Mad Max Fury Road's a great example of it. CGI that is seamless. And you don't even know it until you look at
You don't guess it. You don't break your imagination.
Yeah, because you're just like, this looks so real. And I'll tell you, I think this movie, Force Awakens, is some of the best work ILM has ever done. And it looks so good. They took the actual original models of these ships and like the Millennium Falcon and
This is going to be longer than an hour and 15. I'm just going to.
Probably. We have 20 minutes. We have 20 minutes.
So
left.
really,
they scanned these ships into the computer and adjusted them and things
to add age and to add different. Like,
Yeah.
have you saw the helmets? Like,
Yeah.
they released all the original sketches for all the characters after it was cast, and like the helmets were only adjusted slightly. They were adjusted to show, like, innovation that like, oh, these changed for the better, but they still have like that fucking pose like helmet, like it's slightly different.
It looks but visually you notice like, okay, I can see how that's not that far from what Luke had,
or how they changed from white to black with their main colors.
Yeah, and I love his black X-wing. That thing is so cool. And also, the X-wing. You can look how it's like a blood relative to. It's like the X-wing that was the Luke Skywalker's X-wing's cousin or something like that.
Speaking of which, I love that with design and character building. If everybody's wearing the same uniform, but they're like slight differentiating things, like 2 red stripes above the eye, or like one singular like pattern or something like that. Like all the X-wings have like a different color or something to differentiate.
They're unique, them.
And the uniqueness while still being a collective makes it so seamless and so good.
Yeah.
One thing that I found amazing for The Force Awakens and made me clap as someone for special effects is a special 3D printing company scanned the original from the original trilogy, the original costumes and armor sets.
Really, yeah.
And after working to help The Force Awakens, because what they did was they scanned them in and then they tinkered with them. And
well, that's what they did with the chessboard characters too. Like they took the originals, scanned them in, remade them, and they look exactly.
You can also tweak them.
And they tweaked them a little bit because the originals had their flaws, and they tweaked it to make it look better.
Because it was all molding and wax carving. It wasn't foam carving.
And they literally used stop motion animation again to create that chessboard set.
That was amazing.
That was and it's in the movie for like 3 seconds.
That's why the original Stormtrooper helmets are asymmetrical. Is they were originally carved out of wax and then they were casted and stuff like that. Really fun stuff. If you love that kind of stuff like I do, look, like, it is so cool. Yeah. But the point I was trying to make was this thing happened where this company, I forget the name of the company, I'm so sorry, but it's so cool. They scanned these and they made fucking armor sets that you can buy. They're expensive. Yeah. But they're like I think mold injected like plastic.
Yeah, yeah. Are they like what the 501st use?
I think so. Yeah. It was the thing that they were saying though was they were movie grade.
Yeah, yeah. That's what the 501st use. Yeah. Yeah. And the official Star Wars like costuming club.
Yeah, and it was just so cool because when you bought this like original Stormtrooper set, you were buying a replica of the actual like sets used on set.
It's amazing.
I know that was weird sounding, but like to have a piece of armor.
Yeah.
That pretty much like you could even get them battle worn and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
For $1,000 you could get a completely custom set built for you. For $500 you can get one that you can put together yourself.
Yeah, that's great.
And they send you everything.
That's amazing.
But there's so many. They have the full Darth Vader one. They have the First Order. They have the original Stormtroopers. They have Shadow Troopers. They have Fire Troopers. They have Snow Troopers. They have.
That's great stuff.
And this company also makes original costumes for Luke's original costumes, Han Solo's costumes, all of the people on the Death Star, all the different uniforms. They make them, and you can buy them.
That is great. There's a new Comic-Con idea for me when I go in like 30 years. I'll dress like a stormtrooper or a Imperial officer. That's a great idea.
When people ask me the point of fame I want, I will tell them the point where I can have Comic-Con paid for me.
Oh yeah.
That's the height of fame that I want.
I think
not necessarily as an actor, but like just to be in the business and well known enough where if someone's like, "Hey, we need someone to go to Comic-Con and represent us."
I will. Yeah, pick me.
Only if I can get special pass, and they'll be like, "Yeah, dude, we're going for free anyway. Don't."
That'd be great. But
it's like, oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. So the Force Awakens. Yeah, we watched it the other night, and so what do you think of the Blu-ray transfer? Especially, what do you think?
Fantastic. Even on your no offense to your setup.
Yeah, I have a 32-inch 1080p TV and a basic Logitech 2 speakers and a subwoofer, which I
That was a beautiful subwoofer.
I based that thing out, and I felt really bad for the people that were living below me. I live on the second floor.
I gotta say, as a home viewing experience in a dorm, it was the best it could be.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was incredibly good. You still got that high quality that you got in the theater.
Yeah.
And especially, like, if we were just watching this on a regular TV with no speakers, I'd be kind of dubious.
Yeah.
But, like, just because we had the speakers and we were all just kind of sitting together and watching that, because it was like, it was you, me, Blake, your roommate, and then my friend Gavin.
Yeah.
Just sitting there and kind of chatting a little bit, but still watching it. It was a very nice experience.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
I definitely think I don't really own DVDs and Blu-rays. I don't like physical copies.
See, I do because I like that tangibilization. I like the tangible thing.
That's how I feel about comics.
Yeah, I like the tangible thing because to me a digital copy, okay, it's nice, but I want that Blu-ray quality. There's something about
You've changed my mind on Blu-ray though. After watching that entire movie in Blu-ray, it was amazing.
Yeah, I love having that physical disc and everything because then it's like, hey,
I'm slowly gonna eat all your fries.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Like I'm just so hungry.
I loved, and I'll admit the special features on the movie are okay. They could have been better. They could have added a lot more deleted scenes, and there are more deleted scenes. I think Lucasfilm was saying that they might release more like on the internet.
Yeah.
And personally,
we're kind of getting to an age of kind of like this free, public domain kind of deal.
Yeah, and I love owning that movie, and I've watched it numerous times now, and it's so good, and it's a fun Star Wars movie as well. Like not that
they definitely didn't make it too serious. It was serious in its own right.
It's the funniest one, and I noticed that time and time again. And there's just the one scene that I just loved and watching with the sound and everything is the Millennium Falcon chase scene on Jakku, which was actually shot in IMAX. You don't notice it on the DVD and everything, but it was shot in IMAX. And it looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful, and
they got the original sound effects.
Yeah. Well, I love that with Han Solo's blaster. It's just he gets out of that after Maz Kanata's castle gets destroyed. He gets out of that hole. He's like, "Come on, Chewie!" And then you hear that awesome DL-44 sound effects like pew pew pew.
Now you know the actual model of that makes me laugh so hard.
I played Battlefront.
I know you do.
I know, but it's like. Again, Star Wars trivia this fall. We'll do some of that stuff.
I think we need to do that, and we need to get a comic book trivia.
Yeah, you'll probably own that one, but
I'll have to buy it.
Yeah,
definitely.
but
Speaking of which, look out! Next fall, we are planning. We are planning actually to do a lot of different things, and I say we. Have you told them yet?
Oh,
is it still under the wraps? Blake and I have been talking with Andrew, and we would really like to be up here more. I've really enjoyed this, and for the viewers who do regularly watch, I enjoy being able to give this, and hopefully, even if you guys agree or don't agree, I would just like to have this open conversation about it.
We'll probably do more podcast things like this, just so we just can be more free and open. Because I have a camera that literally can only take 19 minutes of video at a time. So if it's just me doing a review or something, I'll use that because I can make it in a 15-minute range and I can edit it down and things like that. Or if it's just a quick video, I can use that. But now I'm at this point where I'm using my phone as just a voice recorder, and we're doing stuff like this. We're sitting here in a conference room at my dorm, and
we're just drinking drinks,
yeah,
texting.
And
I don't have to pay attention to not saying I don't like being on camera, but I'm not. I can tell you, I'm still in paint clothes from helping with a production.
Yeah.
I'm
we're just sitting here, we're sitting here next to each other, just talking back and forth, and it's just, I got my computer here, I got some topics I wanted to talk about and things. We're just talking, and we eat McDonald's French fries and stuff. It's fun.
You don't even have to watch it. You can listen to it.
Yeah.
You can go about your daily life and just have us in your ear.
Yeah.
And if you would like this or if you don't like this, let us know.
Yeah.
Definitely use that use the dislike, use your subscription bar. Tell us if you want this.
Yeah.
Consent is sexy.
Yeah. We also, I really want to, and I may do some of these over the summer, but not the big ones. But I do want to do some like movie commentaries as well. Where to sit
Yes.
down and watch a movie, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's the superhero film, whether it's Indiana Jones, etc., whatever.
We were talking about doing Quentin Tarantino as well. That'd be
Yes,
fun.
yeah. I haven't seen really any Quentin Tarantino films, so I would really like to. I know.
You might actually, just knowing you might actually hate him.
I don't know, but
love
I
him.
think that's good to have multiple different opinions. I think like how we all have different opinions on
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman and things like that. So I would love to do some commentaries. I'd love to do some just talks about movies. Suicide Squad's going to come out. Rogue One's going to come out. Doctor Strange is going to come out.
I think that's going to be fantastic.
I think so.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, if we want, can I take like a minute?
Yeah. Oh, take it. Yeah.
Doctor Strange. Holy shit. I think that is going to be a big change from the usual Marvel movie, where they're really kind of dig deep into a lesser known character, and we've seen lesser known characters doing fantastically. Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, all these like lesser known characters doing so well because you don't have to worry about as big of a fan base. With Spider-Man, everybody has an opinion on
yeah.
Spider-Man. But if I said Doctor Strange or
That's only-
Booster Gold from DC,
Yeah.
do you know who Booster?
Probably don't. Yeah.
You might actually.
The larger audience that's going to watch the MCU movies doesn't know these characters. They may have heard of Doctor Strange, but they might not know a lot about him.
And it gives
same
it
with Guardians of the
artistic
Galaxy.
liberties.
Yeah, same with Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man. Ant-Man was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for him in
It was a
Civil
heist
War.
movie. I think.
Yeah.
I think the reason all these movies do so well is they break the formula.
Yes.
And I think Doctor Strange is not going to be for kids. I'm going to say that right
No,
now.
no,
I don't
no.
think it's going to be for kids. I think it's going to be this real journey where you're not going to actually. I don't think you're going to come out of that movie being like, this was a superhero movie.
Yeah.
No, I
It's
genuinely
magic, and
think
it's
it's
different,
magic,
yeah.
but it's like this real like trip.
Yeah,
He's going in through multiple realities.
yeah. See, like Guardians of the
It
Galaxy.
might be another Inception. Who knows?
Yeah, it almost looked like that in the
Yeah.
trailer. But something that Guardians of the Galaxy did so well, it was like superheroes met Star Wars, and it's kind of funny because Disney owns both of those companies now, which is just
Yeah.
fun. But what's great is
It had the 80s vibe.
It had this cool 80s action vibe. The music was just great. That soundtrack, that 70s, 80s soundtrack was great. I loved it.
That was one of my favorite things I've ever like bought.
Yeah.
Was the simultaneous orchestral and
Oh.
it was like a two-sided. It wasn't actually two-sided, but they called it like a two-sided tape, and it was a two-part CD of all orchestral and then all of the soundtrack.
That's great.
And you just sit there and you're just like jamming while
Yeah.
you're driving. It's,
Yeah, yeah. I've listened to that soundtrack in the car, and it's just fun. It's like, oh, I gotta stay on the road, you know. But
You're just like slowly waiting.
yeah, like hooked on a feeling. It's so much fun, and that movie. I loved that movie.
And you could take, you know what? I will say this. I have a sister. She's smaller. She's about 9, and me and my brother do our best to make her a nerd. We
As
take
you
her.
should.
We took her out of the 7 times I went to see Pacific Rim. Speaking of which, dropping that name again, I love it. We took her. I took her 3 of the 7 times I saw it. A lot of them were paid for because I knew people at the theater, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm paying that much money.
Yeah.
But to have her actively want to go see these, she saw Star Wars with us.
Yeah.
We introduced her to the original trilogy. She knows her superheroes, man.
I saw Star Trek Into Darkness 3 times with my sister. We love that movie.
Like, me and my brother
love that movie.
are
It's
super.
so good.
If you want to know someone that knows more about comic books than me, I will openly say it. He knows more about the mainstream Marvel, and I think I know a little bit more about Dark Horse. That's just me.
Yeah.
He knows a lot more about Image. Just all the Variant too is a big one. I don't know. Is it Variant? I don't know. I think Variant is one of the big ones. Anyway, oh god, that was bad. That was a burp. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I think that will not be one, but Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, they show that they rejuvenated my faith to have comedy in a comic book movie.
I think you might say this. Age of Ultron didn't. It was
It's Joss
good.
Whedon.
It was Joss Whedon, but I'm kind of glad that he's now out of the universe, and now you have the Russo brothers,
Yeah.
who, in my opinion, did a fantastic job with Winter Soldier. I really like that movie, and dude, I think I heard.
I wish they didn't call it Winter Soldier though.
I can agree with that. I can agree. Did you like the movie?
I enjoy the movie. It's just, I didn't enjoy it the first time.
Yeah.
Well, one, because I went with some friends that were kind of noisy, and I couldn't really watch the movie.
I saw it twice. Yeah,
but that's not them to blame. But it was also because I was going in expecting to see a lot of Bucky.
Yeah.
And just haven't. It was just that, like, not getting what I paid for, almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened?
You just keep talking. Keep talking. I don't know.
She's in a wheelchair. Oh. That is a fire truck, police. Sorry about that, folks. We're looking out the window right now.
Yeah.
We're the Night Outer side helicopter forecast. We are seeing. Oh, that's a fireman with an axe.
Oh, somebody must have. I don't know. Huh. Well.
Can we pause this? I want to go outside and see this. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm really. And we're back. It was a false alarm. Nothing happened. I was really hoping to see someone on fire, but no. Hey, you know what? Yeah. Everybody has their little kicks. That's mine.
Yeah. I think, so let's get back on to, you were talking about Doctor Strange.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think what Marvel's doing is their first movie of the year for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they only have two, and for those of you that don't know, there is Deadpool and there is the X-Men, which are part of Fox, which isn't the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You want to talk about a stupid fucking piece of shit? Is, taking... I'm sorry, I apologize for my language, but just taking apart... I think the DC Universe is like this, too. Like, everybody kind of has bought their own characters.
In a way, a bit. Well, I think Marvel, what happened was, back in, like, the 80s and 90s or whatever, they sold off the rights to a lot of these characters to other studios, and eventually, like, Kevin Feige's, like, collecting them all, like, the mind, like, all the gems and everything. So he, so they're Marvel, which is owned, Marvel proper, which is owned by Disney, is making the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which are just, like, Avengers movies and things like that. And then the X-Men and all that stuff are in there. But the X-Men have done fine. They've made, like, 2 or 3 bad movies. They haven't really, like, crushed. I mean, they've crushed it, but they haven't, like, destroyed the franchise. But they've done a good job with that. But then you have the 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies each year. This year being Captain America: Civil War and Doctor Strange. And it's funny because in the beginning of the year, the earlier movie is like their Avengers tie-in, which is like their Avengers movie and the Captain America movies and the Iron Man movies and things like that. And then the later in the year movies are your more cosmic, out of this world, kind of weirder things. Kind of with the exception of Ant-Man, you got Doctor Strange and Thor.
Oh, and
Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah.
Infinity War is going to have, Star-Lord
yes,
in it.
Yes.
Chris Pratt, by the way, was an amazing cast. I think Chris Pratt the next 10 years is going to do fantastically.
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to relate him to an actor. He might actually be our next Harrison Ford.
I kind of think so, but like he's a really great find, and you wouldn't think 10 years ago, oh yeah, the guy on Parks and Rec, the big chubby guy on Parks and Rec would be Star-Lord, would be a superhero. He'd be in Jurassic World.
He's also just a genuinely good guy. I don't necessarily believe with his religious beliefs, but that's just because I'm more on the agnostic side. But I can respect when you're like, I'm going to believe in my stuff, you're going to believe in yours, but I'm not going to force you to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I like that. He's unapologetic, but he's also like...
Yeah. I think he's just a really good stand-up guy, too, and just he's awesome. And I think that Doctor Strange is going to be an amazing movie. I really do. Benedict Cumberbatch, dude, that dude can do no wrong. And guess what? Would it be awesome to see Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Hiddleston in the same movie? Yes, it would be.
I'm sorry, do I want to see, the Pope and Gandhi in the same room? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, they were in the movie War Horse together, briefly, but...
yeah.
I really... Dude, Benedict Cumberbatch, him as Sherlock, him as Khan, him as Smaug the Dragon. Oh my goodness, this dude is knocking everything out of the park, in my opinion. The Imitation Game, great movie. He's knocking everything out of the park. The dude's gonna probably win an Oscar in the next 10 years, at least in the next 10 years. Come on, it took Leo how long? So I mean, come on, but yeah, I'm loving everything Benedict Cumberbatch is doing. Tom Hiddleston's great as well, but I'm loving everything the dude's doing. But let's shift gears here. Let's talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and that being Civil War, Captain America: Civil War. This movie now, it has been getting a lot of good reactions and things. Now, I have watched a couple of the reviews from people like Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, Collider, the Schmoes Know. They have all praised this movie, and I think kind of rightfully so, but at the same time I've seen like 3 clips from the movie. They've released like 5 or so clips that I've only watched 3 of them, and it was the only 3 I'm going to watch, and I'm done watching trailers and things because I'm like, I don't want to get this movie spoiled for me. I think, and I agree with what these critics have said, most of the time I do, I buy what they're saying. I buy what they're saying wholeheartedly because... and I want to get Alex's opinion on this because we've talked about this off camera and off.
You're digging into a character that I know and love, which is Iron Man.
I know,
and I will give an honest opinion of this.
Yeah, I think they're doing a really good job. I think one of the things that they said was the villain isn't that strong, which like Marvel hasn't been strong with their villains.
It's because they're using Crossbones. Crossbones is a very minor villain.
Zemo, also.
Zemo. Is he the purple dude with the leopard print?
I do not know, but I don't know.
I've heard he was going to be in it too. I can't remember his name.
But apparently he is in it.
Crossbones. I'm going to give you my opinion on who Crossbones is going to be right now. It's the dude that was stuck in the fire when the building collapsed.
Oh yeah, it's I don't remember the dude's name.
You know what?
But
the
guy that was in the guy that was in Winter Soldier, that was kind of like a
dick.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that fought Captain America in that elevator.
He was actively like the entire time.
He was with
him.
An
asshole.
Yeah, he was with him in that opening scene where they're taking out the people on that boat, and then he fights Falcon at the end, and then gets like crushed in the building, in the Shield building as it's going down and everything.
I don't really feel that was the best move on Marvel's part to destroy Shield.
I think it has
the best.
It
was
has
not the worst.
It has repercussions now. I think because now there's no force telling the Avengers what to do, and that's going to be the pinnacle thing in Civil War.
But that was the thing it was Shield. It was Norm Osborn.
Yeah. Actually, they could use Norman Osborn.
Norman Osborn was the guy that headed it, and he also headed the Dark Avengers. But this is when you see Tony Stark, because Tony Stark technically is not an Avenger. He is a leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's more of a benefactor.
Yeah. You're talking on the comic book side.
Yeah, I know. Comic book, and I kind of like that because he does get involved, but he does his own thing.
Yeah, I think, and what I've heard from these reviews, look, they take liberties with the story, but I think you do that in anything. Lord of the Rings did it, Harry Potter did it, and
my only complaint with that is you don't have to change too much.
No, and I don't think they have. And look, I haven't seen the movie. We haven't seen the movie yet. We're going to see it in a couple of weeks.
I know Civil War pretty well, though.
You do. And look, I think a diehard comic fan like you is going to have your issues with it. Yeah. But in the end, I think.
I need to get closer.
I think in the end you're probably gonna. I think in the end you'll probably like it too.
Yeah.
Because you said you liked Winter Soldier, but
I ended up liking the second time I saw it because I was in a quiet theater. Mm-hmm. It was a good movie. I don't think this is going to be a terrible movie. No. Especially because
people are comparing it to Winter Soldier because it's in the same vein. It's by the same.
I'm just happy to not see another Joss Whedon Marvel movie. Do not get me wrong. Yeah. I love Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon's great, yeah.
But he cannot do comedy well. Firefly was the last good thing in comedy that he ever did, in my opinion. Joss Whedon just has this really big thing where he will sacrifice every time a really good, like, heartfelt moment to make a joke. Yeah. That is so stupid to me. And it, like, you had too many moments.
They did a lot of that in Age of Ultron.
And they just did that way too much. And, like, making Ultron this almost, like, funny. He was almost like a funny dad.
He kind of was. I think they really went away from it. I think that's why that movie is just okay. It means good, but it's okay. It could have been a lot better. And I do think I think you're gonna get, from what I've heard, you're getting more characterization. Each character in the movie is a definitive Captain America movie.
Yeah.
That's what they said, and as it should be. And I think what they've said about what I've heard is the movie. You get both sides of the story. You get Iron Man, you get Captain America, and what I love about that is we get to make up our minds before the movie.
Yeah.
But I think they said during the movie, you may already have your mind like who you're going to be with, but there are going to be compelling arguments from the other side, being like, do I want to change sides? Yeah, you're going to think, do I want to change sides during this movie?
Yeah.
Because and I think that's a good thing because both of them are right.
Yeah.
In their own way.
Well,
They're both right. Yeah. I think also this movie comes out at a prime time with everything going on now, politically and just everything that's. Yeah, I think I think it'll be a feat for Marvel to do, and I think the Russo brothers, this is like their test footage for what they can give us in Infinity War, which is going to be entirely shot in IMAX, which I cannot wait to see that.
My thing on this, Civil War, one of the reasons it's, in my opinion, one of the best written things in Marvel, is simply because they bring the political aspect of superpowers into like law and justice.
Yeah.
Is the simple fact that you can lift, 1,000 pounds enough to convict you of a crime of someone having their head crushed?
Yeah.
Like really, like evidence showing their head was crushed by someone with superhuman strength. Like it was like this really weird thing. Please, I don't want to spend this. It will take me about an hour. I've timed it to explain the entirety of Civil War. But what it really comes down to is the different philosophies of Tony Stark and Captain America. I was reading up on this. Someone really put it really nice. Captain America is this dude who happily joined the army to make a difference.
Yes.
He joined the army to make a difference because he believes there's good everywhere and that we should protect that good. Tony Stark is a man who super greedy. He was actually giving he was giving weapons to the bad guys. He was giving them to whoever paid the most.
There's literally a scene that they showed that Captain America throws that back in his face.
Yeah.
He's like, Tony was like, I stopped. He's like, I saw that I was selling weapons to the bad guys. I stopped, and and everything, and then Cap's like, you willingly did that. No one told you to do that. He's like, you figured that out.
It's this really weird thing because his dad also was against it. His dad was against it. Yeah. But he's this man because then he was taken and he had to do the whole arc reactor thing to keep the shrapnel from going. Mm-hmm. But he's this man that's not pushed by like this goodwill and like seeing the good and everything. Just let me finish this. Sorry, I need to finish this.
The first Iron Man movie is a revenge story.
I know that is like that. The reason the first Iron Man is so good. I'm sorry. I really.
Oh, keep going.
I'm one track right now. Yeah. That was the whole reason the first Iron. I love Iron Man. I'm sorry, but the first reason it was so good was because they literally just kept to the story. Mm-hmm. They did the whole thing with like the other dude making his.
Yeah.
Thing. That was kind of weird, but the true origin story of him was pretty well encapsulated. But you have Tony Stark. I'm going to go a lot deeper with Tony Stark. I'm sorry. Tony Stark is a lot different because he's out for revenge and justice and like I've seen the evil of man because I've been the evil of man, or I've at least been the perpetuator of man. And he's more out to keep order than freedom. In Civil War, the biggest thing, to sum it up pretty easily, is a bill is passed that superheroes must give their secret identity to the government, not open. It's not technically open to the public, but it's in case something happens.
They know who they are.
If, say, Captain America killed someone accidentally by throwing a shield into a group of people and a civilian is killed, or even if a supervillain is killed, they will have to go to court and explain that it was self-defense or it was for the greater good. So they are under, technically, the law of man. Yeah. And fucking Iron Man, who actually has already stated that he is Tony Stark, who has nothing to lose, pretty much goes, yeah, I'm down for that. And then Peter Parker comes up, and he's like, yeah, I'm down for that. And then Peter realizes quickly that's not a good idea, because all of his enemies come out and try to take out Mary Jane, Aunt May. And Captain America takes a full 180 from the government. He just goes, fuck that. It is my freedom as an American that I don't have to give a shit. And you have so many people going behind him. Yeah. And Captain, like, if you want to read a story where Captain America is a fucking badass, when he's on the run, he steals like 6 trucks, a plane, crashes it, and then takes the pilot out for a burger as an apology. Wow. He also grows a sick beard. That's awesome. I'm sorry. I think that's going to be the greatest thing of this story, is the fact of, one, you can't get any better in a fantasy world or in a sci-fi world than bringing reality into it of politics. Yeah. Because so much of our...
It's so relatable.
Yeah, of our society is based around politics and laws and what would happen. Yeah. And the realism is there, and I think if they really take on what Cap is at his core and what Iron Man as his core, if they differentiate them and not just make them weird, like, oh, we're both the same but we're different. Yeah, Like, if I can't see a depth to them...
Yeah, I think... Well, that's the thing. We've had so many movies to see that now. And I watched the first Avengers movie the other night. Because I'm kind of getting in this, like, pre-Civil War phase. I watched the first Avengers and Captain America Winter Soldier, like, back-to-back nights. And I watched the first Avengers movie. There's a scene when Thor comes into their plane and takes Loki. And then... Iron Man goes out and Captain America's like, Tony, we need a plan. Like, and he's like, I have a plan. Attack. He wouldn't do that now. I think he's a changed character after the events that happen in the first Avengers movie. He's scared. He's a scared man, and you kind of see that a bit in Iron Man 3.
That's in the second. That's in the second one that it really shows how scared he is, because because they do the whole. I actually thought it was kind of stupid about like how much they upplayed the fact he was like, I'm sacrificed. But if you just had the scene of no talking, of just him, and you have the realization, oh shit, he's not trying to come back. Or, oh shit, that's a suicide mission. Yeah. Like having
you
no
get
one
that,
say
but
they really force feed it to you.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my god, look how the good he's doing. It's like, no, let me get it. And I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, I would rather have that character building and have to watch it again than being babied about it.
Yeah, I think that's some of the weaknesses of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But also the other things are, you see this character. We've had how many other movies to have Iron Man in? I mean, how many was it?
You could really have him in any fucking movie.
This is Iron Man's now 6th film that he's going to be in. Okay, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.
And he has said he's not stopping anytime soon.
No. This is his 6th film, okay? Captain America has had 2 Avengers movies and his 2 standalone movies, so this is his 5th movie. Mm-hmm. And we've had 11 movies... no. 2 Captain Americas, 2 Avengers, and 3 Iron Man. So that's, 7... We've had 7 movies to analyze these 2 characters. Mm-hmm. Going into this movie, which is the 8th movie with both of these characters and everything, and it's like, this is amazing. Like, you're finally getting this whole thing coming to a head, and it's like, and you can see it stemming in Winter Soldier, and now in this movie,
it's bubbling. It's about to boil over. It's really
and the scenes that I saw show it. There's a scene. You'll have to see it, Alex. It shows a bunch of them are sitting in a room, and they're discussing about this bill that's going to...
Oh, is that the one where he's like, I want to punch you in your perfect teeth? Like,
no, he doesn't say that in this. He doesn't say that in that. It's a really good scene where they're all just talking, and mainly it's Cap talking with Tony and Don Cheadle, War Machine. They're all talking Rhodes, and they're all just talking in this room with, or like Vision's there with Scarlet Witch, and it's a brilliant scene that I saw like a minute of, and I'm like, give me more. Yeah. And it looks great. It looks really good. Now look, the movie could have little faults and little problems. I'm okay with little faults and little problems. Batman vs. Superman had it. Force Awakens had little faults and little problems.
I'm just scared with a weak concept.
I don't
there's too many times where they take superhero movies and they go, this is going to be purely action. We don't need to really write a script. It's just a comic book movie.
No. Watch some of these reviews. They're like, this. That's the thing with the Marvel movies is there's a depth to them. And
Yeah.
they say that there's a depth to these characters. They analyze these characters even more in this movie. And Spider-Man, he's in apparently like 2 scenes of the movie. We haven't seen anything of Spider-Man
See,
yet,
that's a
which
good
is
move.
great.
I think
and
that's a
we
good
haven't
move.
seen anything of Black Panther yet, and I'm just like, that's thank God. And apparently this is one
Black
of the better.
Panther's gonna fucking rock.
And I think they said we'll talk about Spider-Man in a second here.
No, I said Black Panther.
Oh no,
Black
yeah, I
Panther's
want to
gonna
talk about Spider-Man as well. But they talk about Spider-Man in some of these reviews, and it's like, this might not be the best one yet, and we've only had one movie, and not even like a full movie of him, but he's really good. Like, and I'm like, thank you, Marvel, you finally gave us a decent Spider-Man. I haven't seen the movie yet, but
I think the original Spider-Man wasn't terrible.
No.
But then
I think
you had, like,
to me, I still think
I think it was purely 'cause you could-
the first two Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire are fantastic. They're really good. Spider-Man 3, it's a miss. And
I was talking to someone the other day.
I don't mind the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, but they're not highly rewatchable. I think 2 is actually more rewatchable than 1.
I've heard this thing, and I think it's a very valid argument. You just haven't found the right actor.
And
Because
maybe
Tobey Maguire is a fantastic Peter Parker, but
not-
Garfield is a fantastic Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I think hopefully Tom Holland is that combination of both. And
But I
I'm
think
really hoping.
that's such an interesting concept that you have
He's
this
also in
character
high
that's
school.
two-sided.
Yeah.
Like, you have
Yeah,
to, like...
and I think, they say there's 2 scenes of him, so we obviously know one, he's in the Spider-Man suit. The second one, he's got to be Peter Parker, and apparently he is. And so that's great. Apparently Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, she's fantastic. Apparently there's some just genuine moments. I think the Russo brothers, coming from their TV background and stuff, they know how to craft story and character very well, and then you see that in Winter Soldier. I think these guys are the perfect people to do Infinity War,
Yeah.
and especially this is like their demo tape for that. It's like J.J. Abrams with Star Trek and Star Wars. It's like this is their demo tape for it's like, all right, show us what you can do, and then show us with like 60 characters in 2 movies.
I never really thought about
in
that with
IMAX.
Star Trek.
That was kind of his demo tape for it.
For Star Wars. I think that's kind of funny now.
Yeah.
Just because...
And dude, I love those 2 Star Trek.
I don't think we're ever going to get a Next Generation, though.
I don't think so either.
If we want to get on a really quick subject, I prefer Star Trek: The Next Generation to the original series. That's just me, just because I love. Picard.
I'm not a huge Star. I didn't become a Star Trek. I'm not even a huge Star Trek person. I'm more of a Star Wars person.
I like both.
But I do too. But to me, the 2 Abrams movies, that's kind of it for me. Because honestly, I thought before, I was always a Star Wars person. With Star Trek, I tried to get into it and I tried to watch it. And I was like, this is really boring.
It is.
I'm like, and even with like Next Generation and all these other ones, you know, I could never get into it, and it was just never something. And it's very sciencey, and it's very and it's not like Star Wars adventure. It's just adventure.
It was just very political, and that's why I liked it. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
get us on this really quick
Yeah,
tangent,
yeah.
but I think it's just more. It was cooler because it was like, here's what happens to keep space, safe.
Yeah. So Civil War, I'm happy with.
I'm
the
excited,
reaction.
but I'm
excited.
cautious.
I'm excited. I'm becoming really excited for it. I am a little cautious for some of the things I've heard about the villain, but apparently the villain is really small in the movie and it has basically kind of nothing.
I think he's
going to
get killed pretty quickly, and I think that's where they're going to get the whole like.
That'd be an interesting thing, and apparently they did say something happens early in the movie that kind of sets the whole thing in motion, kind of like the Civil War comic.
I think it's going to be Tony Stark.
Really?
I think Tony Stark is going to use one of his pulse cannons,
Oh.
and blow a hole through his chest.
Really?
Like, this is me just speaking out loud, just kind of thinking about it. Because what else would piss off Captain America than a superhero killing a supervillain?
I can understand that.
Like,
However,
he has done that.
The thing is in this the way they've set up this universe. Number one, I do not believe at all. If you watch that second trailer for Civil War, it shows like the body count. It shows the casualties for each of those events. The Sokovia event, the DC event, and the New York event. It's like 74 casualties for New York. I watched the Avengers the other night. Those aliens were going through buildings in like Man of Steel style. Come on, don't tell me 74 people died.
But they cleared out the place, was the thing.
The whole building. Man of Steel was going on, and all those buildings didn't get cleared out, and thousands of people died. Come on, thousands of people.
Hey, it's a different place.
I'm saying at least at least 2,000 people died during the Avengers. 74 is gracious, but there were aliens all over the place. Come on. But, yeah, I think, anyway, that's just a little technicality. But I think I'm really excited for this movie. I hope, and they also haven't set up these characters as, like, they don't kill. Like, these characters do kill, you know?
Captain America, though, is one of those where, like, you just kind of how goody-goody he is.
He was a soldier, so, I mean, he does kill.
But as Captain America, he's not.
Yeah, I mean...
It's the whole thing.
I'm trying to think of, does he kill anybody in Winter Soldier?
Here's my thing.
I don't remember if
he doesn't kill willingly. I think that's the main thing. He doesn't do it. I think Tony Stark has become jaded.
A bit. Well, also he's had a great character arc, in my opinion. He's had a very great character arc.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
He's a guy that was just this billionaire playboy guy, and then he comes off and he's like, and he nearly dies. He realizes, I have to become something more. I'm on a revenge path. Yeah. Then, in Iron Man 2, say what we do about the movie, he's about to die again. And,
in what? Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2. Yeah, remember his blood's becoming toxic or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was more
because of the palladium.
No, I don't like
core.
Iron Man 3. I'm fine with Iron Man 2.
Yeah. I am too. Iron Man 3, and then Iron Man 3, he stupidly tells the world where he lives. And for some reason doesn't activate all the, like, billion Iron Man suits underneath his house. Okay. And he lets them...
I just don't understand why a man like him would just suddenly be like, I'm going to throw away all this stuff. You know, the shit that I've spent millions of dollars or billions creating.
Yeah. It was a poor... The movie's a poor concept, and it kind of... whatever year that was, 13 wasn't a great year for Marvel movies. Because you had Thor Dark World, which I like, but it has its issues.
It's not memorable.
It isn't, and neither is Iron Man 3. Both are not memorable movies, and both are okay at best. And they're just okay. I mean, I saw both of them. I've seen both of them multiple times, and they're not that memorable compared to Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, etc. And I just think they're what they are. Okay, so last topic I want to talk about here is the new Spider-Man movie has a title, and it is called Spider-Man Homecoming. Alex, what do you think of that? It's like he's going to prom, right?
I genuinely think, after talking to you about what happens in the Civil War comics,
yeah,
I think...
Because this will take place after Civil War, so...
It will.
It kind of depends on where...
I think it's going to be the repercussions of Civil War.
Ooh.
He's going to go back to New York.
Yep.
And he's going to be affected. And it's going...
Yeah.
Homecoming, I believe... I think he's going to have been Spider-Man.
I think he's been Spider-Man for a while. They've kind of said that already.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think he's coming back to find something. I don't think... They're not doing an origin here, which I think is
Thank goodness. I don't want to see Ben...
It's just for a simple fact of everybody knows it.
Yeah, did we need one for Batman v Superman?
No.
Did we need that origin story for...
But it was quick.
It was quick. It was quick. But did we need it for as the Lego Batman movie says, every single time we see the character? Because if you didn't see the Lego Batman trailer, Alfred's like, "Sir, I've seen you go through similar phases, like with your parents' death and everything." He's like, "Sir, I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016. And he literally names all the years that all the Batman movies have come out. It's great. It's hilarious. That movie will be funny. But I think Spider-Man Homecoming, I heard it, and then it was leaked, and then they eventually confirmed it, and I'm just like, I mean, it's kind of a play on, hey, Spider-Man's back at Marvel, but also it's like, really? I like the font, I like the picture that they released with it, they didn't reuse the same Spider-Man font that they've always reused, and it looks different. I like how the Spider-Man head is like the O in Homecoming. It's cool. It looks different, and I think Tom Holland's going to do a pretty decent job as the character.
He's fresh, he's new, they don't really know about him.
And we're going... Dude, I want a Spider-Man trilogy all in high school, and I think that's what they said we're going to get. Like a Spider-Man trilogy all in high school. Dude, give it to me, please.
Because they're not... something I've realized is with Spider-Man, and I'm trying to think of a few other characters.
They just keep rehashing the same...
Teen Titans, Spider-Man, they're not really to our demographic anymore.
They're
When
really
you're
not,
making
yeah.
Spider-Man, you're trying to relate him to the high school crowd, and we are no longer the high school crowd. You're promoting it to middle schoolers, high schoolers.
Yeah. Also, Spider-Man is... Peter Parker's a nerd, and really nerds today... There's a huge...
They don't exist.
Nerds, back when Spider-Man was first written in the 60s, 1962, the definition of nerd has changed over the 54 years that Spider-Man's been in existence.
Yeah.
It's changed. So how do you change that? And I think they tried that with Amazing Spider-Man. They turned him into a hipster. And it kind of sort of worked. I mean, they tried, and they tried to make him... They made him intelligent. They made him, like, super intelligent and everything. So he was second in his class and everything. Like, they did that. But I think I'm okay with it. What do you think of Michael Keaton as Vulture? That's another thing that's floating around.
Michael Keaton as Vulture?
It's like Birdman, but different.
I thought that, like, I think that would be a joke, in all truth, because
apparently he's in talks, yeah.
against Michael Keaton,
I love the dude.
but I don't think he could do a Vulture.
Really? Apparently, in the never-made Spider-Man 4, John Malkovich was supposed to play the character.
Wasn't there supposed to be, like, a Sinister Six movie?
That's been in talks ever since Spider-Man 3. And they've been wanting to do a Venom.
Sinister Six?
They've wanted to do a Venom
You
movie
couldn't
for
do a...
years.
No, okay,
and
here's
the
my
problem
thing.
is, it was back when Sony really owned everything. And it was like, oh, we're going to do a Venom movie. And it was like in development hell forever.
Dude,
and then it was just...
You couldn't do a Venom movie the same reason you couldn't do a Joker movie. Is you don't have that good to go along with it. Mm-hmm. Also, did you know there's a really long comic arc in the Marvel Universe that explains that there was a short time where Deadpool has Venom take him over, and he's the reason Venom's so fucked up.
Venom Pool, that'd be cool.
No, oh yeah, like there literally is a comic that talks about it's like the reason Venom is so messed up and like so like willing to kill is because he merged with Deadpool.
That is amazing.
But it's the same reason you can have a Joker standalone. There was a standalone Joker comic that failed horribly because you don't have that good or that law.
You need that yin and that yang to outweigh them.
Yeah.
You really need, like, to every Batman there's a Joker. To every, name it. I mean, you're right.
It's one of those things I don't think it would do well. I do think, though, a Sinister Six movie you couldn't have right now, though, because you have Suicide Squad, which is kind of the same idea. It's the same idea, but like Suicide Squad's working on the side of the government, while the Sinister Six are just coming together to try to beat Spider-Man. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. I'm trying to think who would be a good actor to play.
I mean, Vulture is an older character. He's like an older man. So, I mean, I think... Michael Keaton's also been kind of knocking everything out of the park recently. A lot of things he's been in.
Who's the guy that's playing Commissioner Gordon? Gary
Oldman. No, I'm sorry. Gary Oldman was Commissioner Gordon. I'm sorry, J.K. Simmons.
The new guy. He was in...
J. Jonah Jameson in the original Spider-Man movies, which... That's a character they need to bring back. Literally, bring back J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. But I was saying, I actually think he would be a good Vulture.
But I want him as J. Jonah Jameson.
I know, but I'm just saying, like...
He could. Yeah, you're right. He could do it, but I think everybody would be like, dude, why are you getting J. Jonah Jameson to play?
I think, it sounds stupid, but I think he needs to be naturally bald, too.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, it's like, there's a
Kevin Spacey do it again. Be bald. No, be bald again. Like he was in Superman Returns.
I think there's a definite, like, look.
There is.
That you have to really
Michael Keaton doesn't have a whole lot of hair.
You have to look bird-like.
Birdman. I know. But
I really hope they don't over-techify it. I hope that's an okay word to say, but over-techify. I also want to believe that Falcon's setup is based on the taken technology of Vulture's.
I'd be fine with that.
I think that's a really cool and easy way to explain why the government randomly had a wingsuit.
Yeah. Maybe Vulture's in prison and he breaks out or something. Something like
Well, like it was confiscated. It was like because like that's what they posted when they were originally going to do it was they had like walking down the side and you see all of the taken stuff.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
In what? Was it Amazing Spider-Man 2 you're talking about?
It was in one. It was in Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Oh, when they showed all the...
Yeah.
But,
it was all the taken
That was in 2.
technology.
That was in 2. That was at the end of 2, yeah.
But it shows
When-
all the taken technology.
Then they show the Rhino and Paul Giamatti. Oh, God. Yeah. But if you want to see a good version of that movie, go check out my version that I posted. But
You
anyway...
made a version of that movie?
I did. I edited it down, and it makes if you take out the first like 10, 15 minutes of that movie, and then take out the last 15 minutes of that movie, works. Really, I mean, and then you edit some things in between.
To be honest, if you've read the comic, you know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, they also ruined it in the trailer. They showed the whole movie in the trailer, but I think that movie, number one, and we're gonna wrap up here in a second,
Yeah.
but that movie, I watched it and I was amped for that thing. I watched it and was kind of let down a bit by it because I'm like, I just saw the trailer and it's the same thing. At the same time, I went back in and when I bought the Blu-ray, I was like, I'm gonna edit this thing. So I went in, edited it, and I might have you watch it. It's pretty neat. Not perfect, but it's pretty cool. And I started the movie literally where Spider-Man does that whole like police chase scene, which literally you should have started the movie with that scene. Mark Webb, thank you. You should have.
His last name is Webb.
Mark Webb with 2 B's made the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
I did not know that, and that is fantastic.
That's great. But I watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 the other night.
It's like having two people direct Batman and have one with the last name Bat and one with the last name Man with 2 N's.
It's great. It's great. But yeah, I really enjoyed.
No bait.
I really enjoyed the. Here's the thing: The Amazing Spider-Man 1, I really enjoyed for a while. Then I watched it like the other week. I heard Chris Stuckman's review for it because he redid a review for it because in anticipation for Civil War, he reviewed it again. And he was like, "This movie is by the numbers. It's just it's simple. There's no character development." And I watched it and kind of just thinking about what he said and everything. I'm like, he's right. But I still find some enjoyment in the movie.
Yeah.
But then Amazing Spider-Man 2, I find enjoyment in it because it's a bit more fantastical. It's not as this grounded kind of world. It's more comic booky, obviously. And what I did when I went into the movie, again, I took out that opening scene with his parents and that last scene with I ended the movie literally.
Yeah, that whole thing with like his parents were actually scientists, and that
Yeah, the Rhino scene.
he somehow randomly got into the same research that as his parents. I find that so stupid in movies where it's like you're doing the same research as your parents because it's in your blood. And it's like, fuck you.
It was kind of dumb, but I edited around a lot of things in the movie. I incorporated some deleted scenes and things that helped flesh out some characters a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending, I redid the ending in a great way. I'll have to show it to you. It's on my computer. We can probably sit here and watch it for a second, but it's
we'll have to say that for another time.
Yeah, but the ending, I re-edited the ending and it's fantastic. But because I took out the whole Rhino scene in the end because you don't need it. It's pointless. And so yeah, that's that. Sorry for amping up my movies. I would love to thank Alex for coming in here for a portion of his day to come in here and talk movies.
Chunk.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that we're missing Blake. It's just we had a lot of issues with scheduling. It's nothing against him. We're not saying anything about
no, he
Blake.
just couldn't make it today.
It's early. I think he went home.
Yeah. He texted me this morning and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I actually went home this weekend and I can't do it." And we'll incorporate him in the video. I'll cut to him at some points when we're talking about Batman versus Superman. I'll cut to him at some points. I'll try to edit around some of the language. But if I have to leave some of it in there, it's okay. But I'll definitely put some of his stuff in there of what he said. Because I know he would definitely like to redo some of that, and we'll definitely get him on at some point.
I think once we watch Suicide Squad and have a Suicide Squad thing, I think that's when we'll all come back together.
Yeah.
We're also thinking about doing, and this was your idea, doing like a Skype chat.
Yeah, there's some movies and things coming out over summer and everything, because I go home and you live around here, so there's
we're all
a
away.
difference.
We're all away from each other.
And if we could do like some Skype things, we could just sit and chat and about because like X-Men Apocalypse comes out. And there's some other good movies, and that one is an interesting one. We might have to talk about that.
It's going to be
at some
awful.
point.
I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to go into it, but it's going to be awful. We also, I know this was your original plan. Like, the original plan for me to be on the show was literally just for us to have, like, a 2-minute, like, final thoughts after seeing the movie. Just, like, on our phones. Like, hey, yeah, we loved this, man.
Yeah.
Or, like, oh,
and it
this
turns
awful.
into, like, this hour-long talk. Well, that's what we do with Deadpool at the same way.
Deadpool was originally supposed to be just everyone's final thoughts at the theater, and it ended up all of us coming here in this little room and doing it, and it's been fantastic. And I'm happy to talk with you guys. The one final thing that I will say, and then I want to plug something.
Oh, that's
okay.
yeah.
This is the Alex Corner. Hi there, everyone. Here's a PSA to all directors out there for comic book movies. Keep it to teaser trailers. Mm-hmm. You can get so, like, again, with, like, Justice League. 6 teaser trailers. No big trailers. Just 6
Same with big
teaser
blockbuster
trailers.
movies, I'll say that as well.
Because, do you know what's going to get people to your movies is pure curiosity. Mm-hmm. They're not even going to be like, oh man, I want to go see this for this character. Pure curiosity of, I wonder what that little scene does. You already have 4 of them made. You just need to make 2 more. One for Batman and one for Superman. And, like, they weren't great, but they were pretty good. I also wanted to plug a channel that I was on recently, and one that I might be working with again in the future, but it's done by some great guys. It's called The Crimson Phantom Plays. Crimson Phantom Plays.
There'll be a link below. I'll put a link below.
There will be a link. And it's done by 3 guys. I'm going to call them by their nicknames. The Crimson Phantom, the Sleeper Agent, and the Chair. And these 3 guys I go to school with, they're really fantastic guys, and they do some really fun games. They, the main guy, Crimson Phantom, he actually does a game every day. I think he's doing Far Cry Primal right now. But then they have 2 special ones where they have special guests of Lady Phantom, who is in relation to Crimson Phantom. Romantically, not like the blood. But then you also have Sleeper Agent and The Chair. And these 2 places are called the Midweek Melee, which is a fighting game. Now on Saturday, they just have a Saturday like get-together. And these are just really fun. They're really intelligent guys, great conversation, doing great stuff. And we're trying to cross-promote between these 2 because I would really love to see both of these channels take off and do well. Not like million subscribers, but just do well and keep
10
it...
subscribers at a time, that's what I'm saying.
That's all you need.
I just want to get, honestly, right now I'm at like 92 or 3, and I just want to get to 100, and then 500, and then 1,000. You know, but
And
look,
just, like,
look, baby steps. Everybody starts at 1.
Yeah.
Everybody starts at 1.
And I wanted to
Or
just...
0.
I just really wanted to say a big thank you to Andrew. But yeah, I just want to keep this... Help our theater family.
Yeah.
At our school, I'm not going to say the school.
You don't say it.
At our theater school, and keep it well and no competition, but rather to lift each other up and do stuff. But thank you so much for letting me on.
Yep. Yeah.
And I hope to be up again soon.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have more people on this fall. Our school year here is ending very soon, so
I think Blake and I, and then maybe one other person for every once in a while.
Yeah. I'd like to get a girl on every once in a while. Get another gender in here or something.
I just don't know who.
Yeah, I don't know who, but we'll figure that out. We'll get some poor freshman to come on.
Katie Weddle. Oh, Katie. No last name. Katie.
That's right. Yeah, but no, yeah, I'll have to ask some people, but yeah.
I know Katie, at least for video games. I would love to have a video game corner up here.
Yeah. I really want to do some different types of reviews and things. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos over the summer and stuff. Probably still collaborating with Alex, maybe over Skype and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely...
You might not hear from me for a few months just because I might have work.
Yeah.
But definitely at the beginning of the year...
Yeah, when we come back, when we come back to school, Suicide Squad breakdown. I'm going to be doing a lot more podcast stuff like this with friends and stuff.
Just because it's easier, and I think it'd be easier for you guys instead of just watching us sit still for, an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
You can also break this up. You don't have to listen to all of it at once.
Yeah. I'll put timestamps and everything on the description below of anything you want to hear. So as always, guys, thank you for watching this first episode of the College Critic podcast.
The Funcast.
The Funcast. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and like this video. Comment below what you thought of any of the topics that we just talked about. And as always, guys, have a nice day.